Well, hello everyone who is joining us. Hi, thank you so much for joining us. So, as we're waiting for people to join us, Gillian, I guess we can kind of chit chat as people are joining us in the room. And, I think we kind of grew our friendship in the beginning over our mutual love of LinkedIn live shows and video.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love LinkedIn Lives, and we're here today to basically answer any questions anybody has about doing a LinkedIn Live or being a guest on a LinkedIn Live. You can come from it at either seat. So the pilot and the co pilot, we're here to help.
And so, thanks so much to everyone for joining us. So, we do want to let you know that we are recording this audio, and we're going to let people know, periodically throughout the audio because a lot of people are doing it, and we decided that there are going to be so many interesting things said by hopefully us and others who join us up on the stage that we will want to share the recording with you all. So just be aware that we are recording, and let's kick this off, Jillian, and you are all welcome to join us on the stage if you like, and chit chat with us as well. So what should we start with, host or guest?
Well, let's
Yes.
let's start with being a host, and
Okay.
I just want to kind of kick off the elephant in the room, which is one of those things that's the LinkedIn myth about LinkedIn Lives, and everybody thinks you have to have creator mode turned on in order to do LinkedIn Lives. And I just want to let everybody know that's actually just one of the ways to get access to doing LinkedIn Lives. The main thing is you need to have 150 connections slash followers, because it can be one or the other or a combination thereof, on either your personal profile or on your company page. And it doesn't matter what kind of company page that you have. If you have multiple company pages, that's great. Unfortunately, you can't combine them all. But that is the criteria. And then you have to use a third-party tool like StreamYard or Restream and all those other goodies out there. But I just want to let everybody know you don't need to have creator mode in order to go live. So just wanted to kick out that myth.
No, I love that. I love that. And because a lot of people do think that, but if you don't have creator mode, you still have to go through a little bit of an application process, I understand.
Nope, nope, not at all.
Oh, okay.
All you have to do is go into your third party tool, and that's the biggest difference between doing lives on LinkedIn versus, say, Facebook. Facebook, you can use the native app, you can use Facebook, but LinkedIn always requires that third party tool. And as soon as you hook up your destination, which is your profile, that flips the switch. And if you can, that lets you do it. So just hooking up that destination. The days of applying and waiting for the Willy Wonka, chocolate factory ticket, they're gone. Anybody can do this. And you have to be in good standing. So it's like if you're a sketchy person and LinkedIn doesn't like you, because you're doing sketchy things, you're not going to get access. And I believe anybody in mainland China can also not go live.
Oh, okay. Yes, that is important to know. And one thing I will mention too, since you brought up company pages, the doing it from your company page is kind of a plus and a minus, and the plus B is that you can have multiple hosts. If all of the page administrators can be hosts and share the duties. So right now, while we are both hosting this show, it's our show together. Whoever sets it up, because we're doing it from either my personal profile or Jillian's personal profile, is the only one who can bring people up from the audience. So again, you are welcome to come up and join us and join our conversation. As I mentioned in the beginning, we are recording, so please be aware of that, and you'll be able to listen to it after the show is over. So, talking about those third party, platforms that you have to use. And LinkedIn has their preferred number. When I first started doing LinkedIn Lives, I don't know, 2.5 years ago or so, they only had, I think, five. They had StreamYard, Restream, and then there were a couple of others. And I chose StreamYard because it's so easy to use. We both use that. Now I checked it the other day and there's like 10. Have you seen that?
Yes, that's nuts. But it's good. It's good. And, a lot of them, it's like, I've never even heard of before. But I think that's great because, say for instance, like I know one of the new ones is Vimeo, and that wasn't on the list before, but it's like I think you have to have Vimeo Live. It's not just having a Vimeo account. So that's, so you can't kind of cut the corners and go, oh, you know what, I'm already using the Vimeo, plan to do my other stuff. I think you have to be on a higher level of Vimeo to do that. But I think that's great. The more tools, the better. And to be honest with you, I can see a day where LinkedIn's just going to make this part of LinkedIn and, cut out all these other people. But there's pros and cons of all the different programs. And I'm going to just say I love the duck. So I'm a StreamYard fan all the way.
Yeah, I am. I love the duck too. I am also a StreamYard fan, and it's so easy to use, user friendly. And they're one of those platforms that just keeps upgrading and upgrading and giving you more and more and more. So I am not one to ever call anybody out. I used to hate that when I was in Clubhouse. We back in the day, actually not that long ago in the day, but and people would call me up and say, "Oh, here's so and so, come up to the stage." So I'm not going to call you up, but please do come up. We see a lot of people we know in the audience who are some host lives, but all are guests on lives. And one of the things that I'd like to mention, I think I learned this from you and also from Brenda Meller, is the idea of using a calendar for booking your guests. And when I first started doing the LinkedIn Lives, I would think, okay, what would be a good topic? Oh, okay, let's talk about interviewing, job interviews. Okay, now who am I going to get to come and, be my guest on it? And it was like so involved and so difficult. I see you laughing at me, Gillian. So, and then I learned to kind of automate the process. And why don't you tell people how you do that? Because you do the same thing I do with letting the guests choose stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it was interesting. I have to, I'm trying to remember, I think it was Niraj Kapoor who instigated me doing this, because one day when I booked a live with him, he said, how do I add it to my calendar? And I was like, oh, okay, well, that would actually totally make sense. And then I went, and have reminders and, and I thought it all the way through. And I thought, yeah, this is a bit of a time suck going back and forth and trying to figure out dates and times. And then people don't get back to you. And then the times change, the dates change. So yes, I use a program called Once Hub. And that's the scheduling program that I just use in my entire business. So that's what I'd recommend. If you're like a Calendly fan, use that one. Use whatever one you're already using, and think about, having how far out in advance you want to allow people to book. Because you might say, I just kind of maybe want to go with like 1 month at a time, maybe 2 months at a time, because your schedule could change. And of course, this is all related to if you're doing lives on a consistent basis, but, put in the reminders, the add to calendars, that stuff really, really helps. So big fan of automating whatever you can.
Yeah, I do that too. And I use Acuity, and I have one calendar just for Acuity. And it's so funny because somebody mentioned to me, oh, I looked at your calendar and I only see Thursday. And it's like, yeah, because that's the day I do my LinkedIn Lives. And I find it easier too to contact my guests. And if somebody says yes, of course, I'm always grateful. And I send them the calendar link and they choose the day and they choose the topic. And that way it saves me the time of trying to figure out the topic and who's good for it. And it lets my guests, choose a topic that they're comfortable with. And I mean, I think you do that too.
No, I don't. I
Okay.
I kind of wait, and because sometimes I'll book people out, quite far in advance. And I figure I don't want to nail down the topic. Plus, I'm a very, very casual live stream guest host. Host to my guests. And what I like to do is kind of wait maybe a week before the live. This probably puts too much stress on me, but I'm okay with that. And what I like to say is, what works for you right now? Because, for instance, I'm looking in the audience and I see in the front row Kevin D. Turner. Kevin D. Turner is a regular on my show. He comes on my show every couple of months. And with Kevin, he's the king of new features. So we might all of a sudden, something big is happening. And I don't want to lock Kevin into a specific topic. And I just advertise my lives like 3 days in advance, 5 days in advance. So I'm actually a little bit more lax than most people because I like to have that wiggle room and have that for my guests.
Well, it's for both. There's all different ways to do this. I like to try to schedule them in advance, and the topic is subject to change, but I just find, and I know I appreciate that, when somebody contacts me and they say, okay, what would you like to talk about? And I've had some guests tell me that they feel like, oh, geez, it's all about me. But to me, and I think to you, it's really about the guest. I mean, people don't turn into my LinkedIn lives to listen to me. They tune into my LinkedIn lives, listen to the podcast because they want to hear the people who are my guests. And I mean, at least that's my experience. What about you?
Oh, I agree. It's like basically it's like a it's like a three-cornered stool. No, three-legged stool, not three-cornered stool, but a three-legged stool, in that you have your host, your guest, and your audience. And you have to keep all three of them in mind all the time because you want to make sure that you're choosing guests that your audience will like, but you also want to make sure that your audience always feels included in the show. Just like this right now. Anybody in the audience, we are encouraging you to come up and join us, which is a little bit different that you can't do on a LinkedIn Live because I can just show your comment and I can talk with you, by displaying your comment on the screen. But right now, we actually would say, come up on the stage, talk to us, even if you don't have a question, even if you just want to share your experience with being on a LinkedIn Live. That's great with us too. But again, it's all about the guest, the audience, and then the host, all three sort of working together to make it an engaging experience.
Oh, something that I'm curious about. Okay, we have somebody. So, okay, so I am bringing someone up on the stage, and okay, so welcome to Media Mavens Talk, and thank you so much for being a brave person coming up on the stage. And I am going to I'm going to pronounce your name. Is it Bahava?
Bhavna, hello.
Bhavna. Oh, okay. Much prettier than the way I pronounced it. So thanks
Oh,
so much for joining us. Do you have a question or something that you'd just like to share?
I'd just love to share. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this, first of all. And I love that you're discussing the fact that it's important to book people in and let them know what's going on. And I love the fact that you invite your guests to pick a topic. That's such a rare thing because normally the topics are organized in advance and you jump in and, add your little bit. So that's really fantastic. And all I would say is, I've been invited on podcasts and so forth, and a couple of them, obviously, I have to work around my clinic. My clients absolutely come first. And whilst I'm happy to join, lives and guest on podcasts, it's really imperative that, people who are doing the inviting are mindful of perhaps not doing it too far in advance, because if things are going to change, for me, a couple of times I've prepared everything around that podcast slot that I've ring fenced, which has been cancelled or the person doesn't turn up, which is absolutely infuriating. And hugely disrespectful. I know that things go wrong and emergencies may occur. But to have been told, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. You invited me to guest on your podcast and you forgot. How does that work?
That's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. And I've had the experience where that has happened to me. Somebody's like all of a sudden canceled the last minute, and I held that
Oh,
space, and they just said, "Oh, we were doing renovations, couldn't do the podcast. I'll get back with you," and never even got back with me. And I just kind of went,
absolutely.
"Boy, okay, that's it. You're off my list." And
Amen.
yeah, that's it.
Amen. Because we have to honor and respect each other's time. Everybody's so incredibly busy doing whatever we're doing to make our businesses work. So when we're carving out time to offer that time and our presence and whatever expertise we're bringing to the table, the least that could be done is, have a check-in with each other and lay the foundations of, what to expect.
I
It's not too much to ask, is it?
Oh, it's absolutely not too much to ask at all. And I think that it's always about good etiquette and good manners.
Yeah.
And I think that basically the LinkedIn Live event host and the guest, you want to work together because it's a win-win. You're both
Yeah,
helping each other. So it's like the guest needs to help promote and not sit back and wait either. So it's nice when the host is doing lots of stuff. So I know after my LinkedIn Lives, Annette and I are both the same in that we take our content, we repurpose it to an audio podcast, which goes out to even more platforms. We put it on YouTube, so that's another
wow.
channel. And then I like to, the last month, I've been doing podcast only instead of LinkedIn Lives because I've been on vacation. And I've been turning them into articles. And so I'm
Oh,
taking the talking notes, I'm transcribing it, I'm making articles, including an audiogram. I'm going all out. So, because we never know how someone is going to consume content. So if you can
absolutely.
take it and repurpose it and do it in other ways, that's great. And I do this because I recognize my guests are giving up their time and their expertise to come on my show. So that to me is how I can pay it forward.
Oh, bless you. And I've got goosebumps as I'm listening to you because that just sounds so exciting and, making it so accessible to everyone.
Thank you.
Well, well, we both do that, and thanks for bringing that up, the whole idea of going to the podcast, and thank you for saying about people canceling last minute, because I've had that happen too, and sometimes things happen, a family emergency or something like that, or somebody is really sick or something, but I've had people say, "Oh, well, I had an appointment, just a client appointment just, popped up, and I can't be
Mhm.
with you for that hour." And, it is difficult, I know, for us, because we put our time, and we're always excited too to have our guests on the show. So, thank you so much. And, Brian, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And anyone else who would like to raise their hand, please come up and join us. I will ask anyone who's on the stage, when you do come up, if you're not speaking, to please mute yourself. And it took me a little bit. So LinkedIn is often glitchy with these audio events. So if you raise your hand and I don't pull you up right away, I am trying. So, Brian, thank you for joining us. Do you have a question or something that you would like to share?
Hopefully this thing is working and you can hear me.
We hear you.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is so different. I just got onto LinkedIn Live not a long time ago before I became a creator. And this is totally new. So I have Clubhouse on one monitor and this on another monitor. So first, Gillian and Annette, I wanted to thank both of you because I'm still wondering why Kevin still has a video on his profile. And I went to go update mine, and I no longer have video. I just have a static photo, and I'm wondering why other people still have their video. And I came to Jillian's LinkedIn, one of her LinkedIn posts or live or something, and apparently it's all gone. How do I get it back?
So the bad news is that you can't get it back. And so the reason that Kevin has it, Gillian has it, and I have it, they LinkedIn took the feature, the ability to upload a LinkedIn profile away. I think it was June 26th was like the final date, and Gillian will correct me if I'm wrong. And so they did something unusual. They actually announced it in advance, and people had the option to either upload one if they hadn't yet, which was nice because a lot of people who, for 2 years had never bothered decided, okay, now's the time I'm going to do it, or uploaded one that was more generic. And we all did that. And we did actually a audio event at the demise of LinkedIn profiles. And we all have some very strong feelings about that. And I will turn the mic over to my friend Gillian to pick this up.
I was crying in my boots for days when I saw that announcement. I thought it was actually a joke, and John Asperian, I saw his post about it, and I thought, John doesn't joke, so not about things like this. So it was heartbreaking. But I'm going to give you a workaround. If you can't, that ship has sailed. But this is what I recommend people do. Make a video and upload it to LinkedIn doing the same thing. You can actually go a little bit longer if you want, but it's a good idea to kind of keep it like below a minute, 90 seconds, 60 seconds, make something that length. Upload it to LinkedIn as just a regular news feed video, as a regular video in your feed, and then make that be one of your featured items on your profile. And what you can do is once it's posted, you can just go in, and in the upper right corner, you'll see these 3 dots, the ellipses. Click on that, and then you have the ability to set it as a featured item on your profile and move that puppy right to the front. And so when people go to your profile, they'll see it. So that's what I'd recommend, because at least then you do have some sort of video content that people can see immediately on your profile to get to know, like, and trust you.
Mm-hmm. You got to admit though, Gillian, it's not the same, because when you come to someone's profile and all of a sudden you look at their profile photo and it's alive and it's somebody talking, and then you can enlarge it and listen, it's just not the same. Any news on when it's going to come back, or if it's going to come back at all?
It's permanently gone. Permanently gone. This is not just like hey, we're thinking about it. It's like we ripped it off, and it was heartbreaking. And they said, according to LinkedIn, it was because it wasn't being used. People didn't like it, and we're like, who didn't like this? Yes, some people didn't do it, but nobody complained. It was amazing. It was amazing that they took that away.
Well, one thing I do want to add to that is, the featured section is a workaround that we're all talking about, but you do need, if you want to have a video there, you do need to upload it to YouTube and put a link, because you cannot upload native video in the featured section, as far as I know anyway, unless that's something new.
Well,
even more difficult. I think the complaint probably was, most people don't like to be on camera. I mean, let's be honest. Most people just do not like to be on camera, and that's probably why it wasn't used as much, because people just, audio is better than video. I know for years I ran my podcast since 2005. On and off, and I never appeared on camera. Never appeared on camera until LinkedIn Live. And still, I'm shy. My heart flutters when I go live.
Well, and another thing to take advantage of is the pronunciation feature, that little microphone. If you go to my profile, you'll see the little microphone. And I can't remember how long you have in that. It's pretty short, but it gives you a couple of seconds, maybe 15 seconds to introduce your name. But you can also use it as a very good marketing tool to talk about who you are very, very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's 10 seconds, Gillian. And one thing that I found too, when you're talking about the idea of people not wanting to be on video, and we both have as we said, our LinkedIn Lives go up to our podcast, and I have, as I'm sure many people with podcasts have, I have PR people contacting me all the time pitching their, their clients to come on my podcast. And as soon as I tell them, well, it's a LinkedIn live show, so they're going to be live with me on LinkedIn on video before that goes to the podcast, most of the time I never hear from them again.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I never did a video podcast, never did like a video version, because that's the exact reason why no one wants to be on camera. So I used to, even if I was on video, I used to put like, a still picture of them while I was on, live video on the side of them. And still that wasn't even acceptable. But anyway.
Well, thank you so much for coming up and sharing your thoughts. We so appreciate it. Do you have any?
Oh, sorry, Annette. One thing I wanted to just follow up with is this was another thing that a lot of people ask is about guest access and whether you need to be a LinkedIn Live host in order to also broadcast a LinkedIn Live event to your profile. And say, for instance, again, I'm going to pick on Kevin Turner, who's down in the audience. And Kevin Turner came on my show, and he was able to broadcast our LinkedIn Live event. It was my show, but he was able to broadcast a copy of that to his own profile. And this is without having anything. He didn't have to have anything. I think he had to open up a free StreamYard account. I don't know if Kevin would want to come up and talk about that, but he had to open up a StreamYard account in order to do that, but it didn't cost him a penny. So again, this is a great way to leverage LinkedIn Live. If you're not ready to be a host, you can still co-stream to your own profile.
Yes, that's great. I'm glad that you mentioned that. The one thing is, though, the host has to enable it, and and when you do enable it, it does set up some other challenges. And I've done it too. I've done it with some of my guests. I think Gillian and I did a show together, and we broadcast on both our profiles. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can do that, and you do just have to set up for StreamYard a free StreamYard account. But one of the challenges was that if it's streaming on both profiles, then you have kind of two sets of comments, and so that's something that you and your guest have to kind of agree that you're both going to deal with. So I thank you so much for bringing up the whole profile video, because that is I don't know, be in the bonnet or whatever of both Gillian and myself. And I want to thank my friend Marion for coming up and joining us on stage. It's so lovely to see you here. And I just want to mention again, as we're about at the midway point, to people in the audience, we are recording this, and we will be posting the recording after the show, once we go through a couple of technical loopholes here or jumps that we have to do. So Marion, thank you for joining us. So do you have a question or something you just want to share?
Yeah, I just saw that you popped up, and I'm Aaron Chris Carr. I have a LinkedIn Live show that I've been doing for about a year. I took the summer off, and just want to jump in. And sorry, my voice is gone today. Excuse me, my voice is completely shot. I've been talking all day, but just jump in to support you, Annette, and on this discussion. But I will tell you, I think there's a lot of just two things. Like everyone else, I was afraid, not afraid, but I didn't really like being on screen. I know the audio seems to be good, but my LinkedIn Live has gone really, really, once I kind of got over that, I didn't have anyone say they didn't want to be on the show that I asked them to come on the show. But I think that the thing that made it happen was I had a very targeted audience. And I think the key thing is we can all do LinkedIn Lives. Everyone, people can do LinkedIn Lives, but using the feature where you create the event and invite your specific audience and getting your guests to do the same, to invite who they want to see it. And then, like you shared, Annette, you can simulcast it with other people if they have a free StreamYard account. That's how you scale it. To me, I think those are the three things: is prep, who the audience is going to be, create the event. And by the way, StreamYard automatically creates the event on LinkedIn for you when you schedule the event on StreamYard first. It creates the event for you, and then go in the event and invite who you want to see it. For example, my role is healthcare and life sciences. A lot of the work that I do in the life sciences is with startup companies that are looking for funding. So if my client or my guest, excuse me, is going to be on the show talking about their new novel diagnostic or whatever, but they're looking for private equity money to support them, that's who I invite to the show, if that makes sense. So I'm Arian, I'm complete. Just wanted to share that. It's all in the prep. Annette, thanks for being, and Gillian, thanks for letting me be on the show.
No, I'm so glad, because I do have a follow-up question for you, Marion, because I know, and I think that this is such a great idea, because you are in healthcare recruiting, and you have your whole show around that, and you have thought leaders in the industry. And I think that that's such a wonderful way for people, business owners, people, even in a larger company, to really build up their brand, along with, highlighting and showcasing the guests that they have.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the challenge we have on LinkedIn is that we want to measure our success on LinkedIn by the kind of KPIs or numbers that you would see on other platforms like YouTube or Instagram or whatever. And we're looking for these massive numbers. That's not at all what we should be targeting, in my opinion, on LinkedIn. You can only invite 1,000 people to your LinkedIn live show a week, per week from your network. You can, but your guests can also invite 1,000 people, and you can recruit other people to invite 1,000 people. If you get 20%, and that's pretty much my rate, 20% saying they will attend the event, that scales the views out dramatically. And here's the thing, don't look at a number like, if you get 500 views of a LinkedIn live show, that sounds like a small number, right? We can see, you can go on YouTube and people falling down will get 2,000, right? Just video them falling, we get thousands of views. But it's, what are we trying to accomplish? For me, if I get up to 20% of people that said, I'm interested in this topic, that's 20, those 20% or 200 of 1,000, that's 200 people that said, I'm interested in this topic. That is huge. So I think we don't need to use the measuring stick of other social media platforms when we think about LinkedIn Live. If you're thinking you want 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 views, God bless you. Good luck. I hope that goes well. But what you do with it is what matters, right? And so for me, in my world, the idea is to scale my network and also help my clients or potential clients or people in my industry to also scale their network, but more importantly, provide information that matters to that particular audience. So I think we tend to reach our goals on LinkedIn with a broad brush, and I think we have to use a fine brush. I think we have to be very targeted in our efforts or whatever we're trying to accomplish. Jillian, I saw you laughing. Literally, I just saw a video that popped up in my feed on YouTube, and it literally had, I don't know how many, 1 million likes, and basically it was some dude falling down. I mean, no joke. That was, I actually didn't make that one up. I just happened to see that. So I'm Marion, I'm complete. Annette, thanks for letting me be on the show.
Well, I do so appreciate you joining us. And one of the things that I was just thinking about with the LinkedIn Lives, with the destinations, and I think that that's something, if you're not someone who does host LinkedIn Lives on a regular basis, or even at all, one of the things that's nice about it is you can stream to multiple destinations. I know I have mine set up. I stream my lives to LinkedIn. I stream them to my YouTube channel, and I used to stream them to Twitter before things went a little crazy over there. You can also stream them if you have a Facebook. You can stream them on Facebook. And so, with 1 hour long or 30-minute show, you can potentially reach people in a lot of different areas, which is what Jillian was also talking about before, the idea that people not only consume content in different ways, they consume it on different platforms. And so that's one thing that I find really beneficial, the fact that you can automatically stream it to a bunch of different platforms and then obviously reuse the content as well.
I'd like to just add too, in follow up to what you were saying, Marion, is that I love the idea of niching down and thinking about your overall business goals. None of us are going to go viral doing LinkedIn Lives. The idea is that you're going to get out and you're going to attract the people that are looking for the message that you're trying to get across. And so you really shouldn't be going live on LinkedIn thinking everybody on LinkedIn is going to watch it. No, the people who are going to watch it are whoever they feel that content speaks to them and they're interested in hearing your message. And I know with me, when I first got started, I didn't have a goal beyond brand awareness. I had a very, very small network. I don't even know if I barely had 1,000 people. It might have even been, kind of more like 700 or something like that. And I just wanted to get out there and start doing video. And I actually found I was kind of going through a rebrand at the time, going from online marketing to video marketing. And I actually found doing LinkedIn Live easier than doing recorded video because it's so forgiving. You just hit the go live button, you start talking. People are okay if you make a mistake. They're there, they're willing, they're clapping for you. So it's much more forgiving and less stressful than making a recorded video. But the important thing is I quickly began to see what topics were doing well, which topics were not doing well, and I niched down to LinkedIn easy peasy. And then that was a yardstick for getting my guests. If somebody has something to contribute about how LinkedIn can be easier, they're an ideal guest for me, and that is what my audience likes. So I think niching down, figuring out your goals, that makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. I'll just add one last thing and not to dominate the conversation. If you want to see how LinkedIn Live is done well, like very, very well in terms of that, from a not necessarily a niche perspective, but how just the whole conversation goes, check out Dory Clark. If you don't follow Dory Clark, Dory, D-R-I-E Clark, she does a Newsweek LinkedIn Live on Thursdays. I basically, and I'm in Dory's coaching program, so obviously I'm a homer a little bit, but her one of the biggest things that's so good about LinkedIn Live is when it's live, you can interact with the people watching the show in the comments, and that makes the conversation far more robust. To your point, Gillian, if we want to niche, invite people, we're inviting our niche to the discussion, but then engage them. That's been, and I just copied what she did. I just copied what she did. The only thing I did different was I micro target my audience based on the topic, and I go specifically invite the people I want to see it. So to your point, thank you, and I'll stop talking. Annette and Gillian, thanks for letting me drop in.
Well,
I talk too much.
No. I really am so glad to see you here, and so happy that you joined us. I just want to mention that I am going to put a couple of people down in the audience just to make it easier for me to see when someone is raising their hand, because Marnie was patiently waiting with her hand raised, and I was unable to see her right away. So Marnie, thank you so much for joining us. And do you have a question or something that you'd like to add?
Yes, just a thank you to folks who host these, like you, Annette and Gillian, and to John Esperian and Mr. Kevin Turner. Every time I listen to you all, I really learn a lot. Brian, even your experience that you mentioned earlier, it kind of drives home and reassures me that it's so important to listen to these folks who are kind of experts and subject matter experts on LinkedIn, because I learned so much from you. I will say that often I struggle a bit because I am not, a entrepreneur. I am a public servant, and so I use LinkedIn a little bit differently. But I appreciate all of the universal experiences that you all share, and it helps me to use LinkedIn better as a tool to do my job. So, just a huge thank you.
Well, I have to say thank you so much for coming up and saying that. We so appreciate it. Gillian and I love to hang out together, and doing this is fun for us. And if we can share something that helps somebody else, I know that we are both really excited to hear that.
I love what you shared, Marnie. So thank you so much. And it's so lovely to hear your voice, because I know you've been in my lives before. I've seen you in the comments, and it's always wonderful. And, just a shout out to people who, like Marnie, come to lives and participate in the comments. And just know the hosts are so happy to see people commenting, because otherwise we feel like is this mic on? Like, without ever saying that, you just feel like, oh, this must be boring if nobody's commenting. So that is a great thing for people. So even if you don't ever want to be a guest on a LinkedIn Live, you are a guest in the comments, and just know that the LinkedIn Live hosts and the guests, we see you, we appreciate you, and just thank you. And I love people too that after the fact will say team replay, and they're letting me know, hey, I'm consuming this a day later, 2 days later. And that's why it's very important for hosts, in my opinion, to continue to respond to the comments days, weeks, years after a live, because everybody's comment matters.
Yeah, that is so important, and it is really lovely to see as well. And I know there are many LinkedIn live shows that I'd like to see, and we can't be everywhere. And I know Dory's name from somewhere. I think I know her from an organization I belong to. But it's, if I have some time on a Saturday, if I'm working on Saturday morning, I can listen to Jillian's replay of her show, and that way, I can always pick up something and learn something new. And so as we are actually rolling right along here, and again, we have another 20, 15 minutes or so. Please do come up from the audience and join us on the stage. Many of you down there know us, and you know how lovely we are and friendly and all that. So please do come up and join us on the stage. So Jillian, okay, and here's somebody that accepted the invitation.
Woohoo! It's Marcia. It's Marcia. I just wanted to add really, really quickly, Annette, that just to get everybody in a different thought paradigm, recognize that LinkedIn Lives don't necessarily have to be interview shows with you and a guest speaker. That's just one format. Another format is just going on, and I see a lot of people doing demos, and they might be showing something. I've done those myself where, hey, this is a new software tool that's out. I wanted to just give a quick little heads up of how this works. Maybe I've done a book auction. So John Esperian's in the audience. We auctioned off his books, and we held a live auction where people in the audience were bidding for charity to buy his book, Content DNA, and that was absolutely engaging and fun. And I think we had Liam Darmoody on as our auctioneer with his very, very fast talking voice. So just think outside the box. LinkedIn Lives can be anything: behind the scenes tour, you on vacation and showing, maybe you're meeting with a colleague on LinkedIn in another country. Do that live. So LinkedIn Lives can be anything.
Well, thank you so much for saying that, and I agree with you. And that's one of the things that I have on my list. But I have to make sure that I do have a little bit of hair and makeup. Obviously, anyone on video as much as me is not, not too vain, but I do like to look presentable. One thing about LinkedIn audio, we don't have no hair and makeup needed for that. But I've seen people do that too. And one thing that if you are doing something like that and you have a YouTube channel, you can stream it on LinkedIn Live and stream it directly to your YouTube channel. And it does save that time of setting everything up and sitting down and deciding you're going to do the video. And I've thought about it many times, and you have inspired me to actually do a couple of those things maybe next week. So thank you, Jillian, and thank you so much, Marnie, for your kind words. We so appreciate it. So Marcia, I hope I'm saying your name right. I guess I am because I've heard Jillian say that. Thank you for joining us. Do you have a question or something you'd like to share?
Thank you, ladies. So, yes, my name is correct, Marcia, and I hate to be OCD, but that's why I have to keep switching up how I put it on the platform because I hate Marsha. That's just my pet peeve. Anyway, on a more positive note, I'd like to thank Jillian personally on the platform because she and Tony got me going, and I just kept listening to them every single week, and just show up. And I'm like Jillian, now I just show up every other Monday night for my audio, and of course, and then I'm just gonna come as I am. If I'm gonna do a video, I'm just gonna be fabulous. I don't have to have a stylist because I'm fierce and fabulous. So I'm just gonna show up as myself, and I want my guests to show up as themselves when I start doing, inviting them. Because you know what, I think sometimes we spend so much time on being, some of us being so inauthentic and hiding behind fillers and filters and everything else that, I'm just ready just to be my authentic 100% self. So, again, thank you for having this platform. I just hopped on. But again, Jillian, thank you personally for allowing me to be myself, coming on as myself, and just taking the dive forward in all platforms. Thank you.
I have to follow up and just say, I'm such a fan. I'm such a fan of Marcia. I remember when Tony McClellan and I were doing a LinkedIn audio event, and it was quite a while ago. And we were talking about this topic of showing up, showing up. And, Tony is just, with her magic fairy dust, is an amazing woman. And Marcia was in the audience, and she decided she wanted to show up and do a LinkedIn Live for the first time. So after the event, Tony sent me a DM and said, Marcia was in the audience. She wants to, go live, and would you come on and help and just be there, holding her hand with me? And I said, sure. And I said, when? She said, now. And I went, right now? And she said, right now. And I went, we can do this. And so we did it in the moment. And that, I love that, because that was the greatest example of somebody saying, I'm doing it. And she did it, and we were there. And it wasn't long. Maybe, what did we do? Maybe 20 minutes. It wasn't a long show at all, but it was like, sometimes you just have to phone a friend. And I was the same way. The first time I did a live, I was kind of too nervous to go by myself. I called my best friend in New York, and she was having a hurricane at the time. And I said, I need you to go live with me. And she said, let's do it. So just always phone a friend, phone a friend.
Well, I love to hear that too, because the first time I did a LinkedIn Live, I had my longtime friend Lisa Rangel come on as my guest too, because there's always somebody there. If you have somebody that you're a good friend with you, it makes it so much easier. And while we certainly, I invite people on the show, and I'm always excited when they do say yes and come on the show, and it's always such a treat for me. But as much fun as it is to learn about new people and build these new friendships, I have to say there's nothing like doing a LinkedIn Live with a friend. And so I actually, this year I had Jillian come on because my LinkedIn Live day was my birthday, and I was like, okay, why don't you just come on and we'll just hang out and talk. it's just made everything so easy peasy lemon squeezy. Easy, yeah, easy peasy. So thank you, Gillian. And John, thank you so much for joining us on the stage. Do you have something you'd like to ask or share?
Hi, they're all well. I've got a few minutes spare, so I just thought I'd join you and say hello, as it's been a little while since I've been on a LinkedIn audio stage. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes, we hear you. Sorry, I was muted. Yes, we hear
Lovely.
you.
Well, thank you to Marnie for kind words, and it was lovely to hear Bhavna earlier. She's a good friend, and lovely to see her and hear her on stage. I've had my hands full today because of this news about location hiding, which you might have seen my post about earlier, which seems to be a big experiment that LinkedIn is testing of having some accounts that can't see other people's locations and education and current company, which just seems like the maddest test imaginable to me, but hopefully they'll get rid of that soon. But I've just been dealing with a lot of that behind the scenes today.
Wow, that does so. I saw your post, and I only picked up because I was scanning, getting ready for other stuff today, that it was only location, and I was curious if they were not showing location um, for job seekers, because sometimes, like, I'm in Metro New York area, but if I'm looking for a job in California, because I'm moving there, sometimes people have to worry about recruiters not wanting them because they're not in the local area. So that was my first thought. I don't know. I haven't seen that yet. What do you all think about that, Gillian?
I don't have that, so I guess I'm not part of the beta group, thankfully in this go round. And in my opinion, that just kind of feels crazy to take away the locations, because this is one of the things about, like, right now I'm looking at this event and it's showing me the time, my local time. So I appreciate when LinkedIn does things like show us LinkedIn Lives and LinkedIn audio events in our local time. So taking away the where that local time is, to me, is insanity. So I hope that stops.
So, John, do you know, is it something that they're just trying out? Do you have any other insight on that?
Yeah, well, we had a response earlier from LinkedIn support, and they did say that it is an experiment, and that experiment will involve some accounts, including mine, being prevented from seeing where people's locations are, although not in search results, which is weird. So if I did a search for you now, Annette, it would show me your location. But if I then clicked through to your profile, I then couldn't see your location. So that's really, it seems like a pointless thing to test. And also I can't see anyone's education, although I don't really care about that field. But I also can't see people's current company. I can see their previous companies, but it won't show what their current company is in the top card, and that also seems unnecessarily weird. But it is just an experiment. I've tried to encourage as many people as I'm in contact with to submit either or both of the LinkedIn support feedback forms to say that this is a terrible idea, and please backtrack on this as soon as you can, and hopefully they'll see sense and do that. But I've had this problem for a couple of weeks, and I didn't post about it before today, only because I just thought it was a glitch. I thought there was something wrong with my account. No one else seemed to have had this problem, but a few other people have told me in my community that they're now seeing this. And then I saw some communications from LinkedIn support yesterday saying, yeah, this is a real thing, we're getting rid of it. And then today they clarified it's just an experiment and only some accounts are affected. So if you're not seeing any changes, then great. And fingers crossed, they'll just cancel the whole thing and we'll go back to where we were.
Well, that's good news that it's only an experiment. I mean, that's something I'm glad that I'm not part of that. I remember when audio came out, and I cried and moaned and whined about it forever because I did not have access to audio. And then finally I got it, and then it took me like another 6 months to actually use it. So we never know, I guess, kind of. Well, people there, so better than I do, but so often it's a mystery, as to why LinkedIn does whatever it is that they do.
Well, yes. I mean, the case in point I think you made earlier about the profile videos being removed And then they gave some cockamamie story about it being because, our members have told us that this isn't helping them tell their professional story. I mean, that's a ridiculous assertion. It's just a case that they didn't advertise the service enough. Every time I told someone about it, they were quite interested, and they said, "Oh, I didn't realize you could do that." So there must be, thousands, millions of people out there who were similarly clueless that this was there. And admittedly, I think someone said it earlier, some people are a bit camera shy, and that's obviously totally fine. But there are plenty of people who are not and would jump at the opportunity if only they knew it was there. So they should have done a better job at doing some PR. And perhaps if they supported their community of LinkedIn enthusiasts a bit better, then that word would have got out there. But there we go. It's done now. And they've also told me separately that they're not working on something that is going to be a successor to this. It's not like this is being shelved in order for something better to come along. They're just not doing it, which I think sucks. But there we go. And Gillian's idea of posting a video and putting it in your featured section is excellent. And I've taken that kind of time capsule approach and done that on my own profile in the past too.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So, Gillian, the time has flown by. We are
Can I ask
5 minutes.
Can I ask John a quick question?
Of
John,
course.
I wondered if you have heard anything with regard to LinkedIn Live being able to go to a group. Is that something that maybe that's the only place that I see LinkedIn Lives missing as a destination on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's another frustrating one, because I spoke to someone from LinkedIn about this and they were quite enthusiastic about it. That was a few months ago. And then I later had communications from them saying that they've shelved that project too. So it doesn't look like that's on the timeline. That's not on the agenda anymore. I think that would have transformational value for the value proposition for groups if they did it, because going live to potentially 950 million people is scary, but going live to a group of trusted individuals in a 50-person group, that's a different thing altogether. And I think that would really give people their wings. But it doesn't look as though they're interested in doing that. So, watch this space. I think realistically, if you want to do something like that, you're probably going to have to use a tool like StreamYard and then just do a private YouTube stream and just tell the people you want to see to tune into it. And that keeps it private, and it could then be communicated within a group. But it's not then stored on LinkedIn in the way it would be if it were a proper LinkedIn Live. But that's the best workaround we've got for now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I recommend to people. Just stream to unlisted, stream to private on YouTube, and then that way it's a great way to test doing LinkedIn Live before you go public on LinkedIn Live. But darn, I wish the group thing was actually coming. Bummer.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry, my thought just went right out of my head. One thing, because you used to be able to make LinkedIn Lives private as well, and then they changed that. Was it about a year ago, Gillian? I think that they changed it where you can't make them private anymore.
Yeah. They're totally public. You can't do anything like that. I think the only difference is on a company page, you can make people have to sign up or something. So they might have to fill out a form, but I don't live stream from my company page, so I'm not 100% sure that's exactly how that works. But I think you can do some sort of thing like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to, I don't know, LinkedIn Lives, because I see LinkedIn Lives on company pages that I viewed on company pages, but I don't know. There's so many things out there to think about. So, the time has flown by. Thank you to everyone who has been with us. We really appreciate your time being here. Gillian, any final words before we say goodbye?
Can we just quickly get Leslie up just so that she was on the stage? I just see her squeaking. Even if we stay on another minute, can we get Leslie up?
Sure.
Hi,
Yay.
can you hear me?
We can hear you, Leslie.
My goodness, this is a first for me. I just had to pop up really quick and address something that was mentioned about videos in your featured sections. I've done a fair number of videos, many with my dogs. Some were kind of spontaneous. They're in my featured section. I don't want to lose track of them. They're important to me. And of course, I'm in the dog industry, if anybody is not familiar with me. So that is my focus. But I let go of my image being more important than my message. And I thank Roy Kowarski for that. Gillian, I think you interviewed him recently.
I did, and he's stellar. I love Roy.
That was very liberating for me because I did a video. I didn't look so great, but my message was more important than how I looked. And I just pulled out all the stops and worked with it. I enjoy video. What can I say? But I know you're about to close, so this is another first for me.
We love it. We love it. Now we have to get you on a live, Leslie, showing those little dogs and getting them little homes. So that's something we'll aim for.
And I want to say that I do appreciate you talking about the message being more important than what we look like, because that is so true. And I find that with many of my colleagues that I try to get them to do video. I know Gillian and I tried to get every single person we possibly knew to do a profile video when they were still available. And there's so many people that are so concerned about how they look. But the truth is, you know, if I'm watching a video, I'm there to see if there's something relevant to me, something that I can learn from. I'm not looking at the man or the woman who's speaking and saying, oh, I don't know, I don't like her hair, and gee, she could lose a few pounds or something like that. It's just, I so appreciate you saying that, Leslie.
I have that hat on and I explained that I worked that everything in, but the credit for my being able to do that goes to Roy Kowarski. I tried to send him a message, but I was not able to do that. So if you can get that message back to him, because I'm following him at the moment.
I will. I'll introduce you both and get you connected.
Thank you. All righty. I've enjoyed this. Thank you both. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for Gillian to let me know that you were raising your hand there. So Gillian, now we are at the bitter end here, and any final thoughts?
This was fun. I'm so happy that everybody joined us today. We're going to kind of do this once a month with Media Mavens Talk. It's going to be Annette and I. Won't always be about live streaming. We'll go through all sorts of different topics and just make this a kind of casual chit chat about ask me anything about talking about anything about LinkedIn. So we're going to be back here if everybody likes it. Once a month we'll do this.
Yay! My dream has come true. So thanks so much, everyone, for being here. We so appreciate you. And so now I will say goodbye and turn off our recording, and we will be posting it, a link in the comments, but again, have to jump through a few technical jumps before we do that. So thanks everyone for being here, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.